Very good morning. Welcome to the first English bulletin on Rajya Sabha TV on the first day of 2020 and the start of a new decade. I'm Aishwarya Kapoor with you. Here is wishing all of you a very happy and prosperous new year from the entire team of RSTV. Let us now begin the breakfast news with the headlines. With fireworks and celebrations, people around the world welcome 2020. President, Vice President, Prime Minister extend best wishes to citizens. General Bipin Rawat to take a charge as Chief of Defence Staff today. New Army Chief General Naravne warns Pakistan, says India reserves the right to strike sources of terror. Mobile SMS service restored in Jammu and Kashmir. Broadband internet services in government hospitals also resumes. 2019 saw 160 terrorists eliminated, declining the number of youths joining militancy in Jammu and Kashmir. Government to spend 105 lakh crore rupees on infrastructure in the next 5 years to help India become a 5.5 trillion economy by 2025. And US President Donald Trump warns Iran, blames Tehran for the attack on US embassy in Baghdad. People across the globe welcomed New Year 2020 and bid farewell to 2019 with celebrations. The world ushered in the new year with spectacular fireworks across various areas like in India, Sydney, Tokyo and Paris, Dubai, among others. In India, as the clock struck 12, the chorus by the people, Happy New Year, reverberated. In Delhi, people thronged restaurants, malls and other public spaces to bid goodbye to 2019. In Mumbai, thousands of people gathered at the beaches and restaurants to welcome 2020. New Year celebration events were held in various beaches and also locations of Goa. And in Chennai, thousands of people gathered in the iconic Marina Beach and other prominent public places to welcome the new year. People also thronged temples and churches for special worships during the new year. And Dubai heralded the new year in style with a dazzling display of fireworks at various locations, including the iconic Burj Khalifa. People also visited the shrine to offer New Year prayers in Tokyo, and fireworks also erupted over downtown Bangkok during the New Year's celebrations. And New Zealanders were among the first to welcome 2020. There were fireworks that were lighting up the sky over Auckland. And Australians also greeted the new year with a spectacular firework display over Sydney Harbour.
Whoop,
Indian Army jawans protecting our borders also celebrated the New Year, and also Indo-Tibetan border police jawans celebrated New Year in Uttarakhand's Oli. They danced on folk songs with full enthusiasm and greeted each other. Similarly, Central Reserve Police Force jawans also celebrated New Year in Raipur in Chhattisgarh. And the President, the Vice President and the Prime Minister have extended their greetings to the people on the New Year. In a message, President Ramnath Kovind said that I extend my greetings and my best wishes to all fellow Indians and the global community. He further said that the dawn of the new year and the new decade is an occasion for people to commit themselves to making a society that is peaceful, caring and compassionate. And he also said that we must renew our commitment towards a stronger and more prosperous India. And Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu also greeted the people, saying that New Year is a time for new beginnings. He said, I convey my warm greetings and best wishes to all citizens on the advent of the new year 2020. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi also tweeted this morning New Year wishes. It is the Prime Minister's first New Year wish after he won the second term with a massive victory in the national elections that were held in April and May last year. He tweeted, have a wonderful 2020. May this year be fulfilled with the joy and prosperity. May everyone be healthy and may everyone's aspirations be fulfilled. And earlier on Tuesday, he had also tweeted a montage that compiled what the country achieved in 2019 and what it hopes to achieve this year. The year 2019 was a significant one for the upper house of parliament. Among other things, it was the best in terms of productivity for the Rajya Sabha. So let us take a look at some of the highlights and milestones in the upper house this year.
Rajya Sabha ended the year 2019 on a high note, marking a break from the disruptions of the preceding years. The upper house passed 52 bills in 65 sittings in the course of the year. That came to an output of 0.8 bill per day, or 4 bills in 5 days, which is the best in the last 36 years. 2019 was also the best year since M. Venkaiah Naidu assumed office of Chairman of Rajya Sabha in August 2017. Productivity in terms of legislative output was 0.7 bill per day during the year 2017. It came down to 0.28 bill per day during the year 2018. In 2019, the legislative output of Rajya Sabha increased almost 3 times from 2018. At the conclusion of the 250th session, the chairman noted that the 249th and the 250th sessions reported about 100% productivity.
Well, the last session recorded productivity of 104% by availing more than the available time for transacting the business. This session too clocked almost around 100% productivity. This is perhaps for the first time that this House recorded 100% productivity for 2 successive sessions. For me, this is a certain proof of this shift being studied, and all of you deserve credit for the same.
In 2019, Rajya Sabha Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu introduced new norms to take up starred questions, 0 hour and special mentions, due to which the highest ever number under these categories were taken up during the 250th session. The chairman also promoted the use of mother tongue in the upper house during 2019.
आज मेरे लिए एक ऐतिहासिक दिन है जो मैं संताली भाषा में पहली बार इस उच्च सदन में बोलने जा रही हूँ। उड़ीसा स्टेट में 62 टाइप के ट्राइबल कम्युनिटी रहते हैं। उनमें से संताली एक कम्युनिटी है। मैं उस कम्युनिटी से आती हूँ। संताली मेरी मातृभाषा है और ओलचिकी हमारी स्क्रिप्ट है। मानतन परसेद गोंके संताली परसी आड़ांगते रोड रेना दाव पे एम आका दिनते अड़ी अड़ी के सारहाव Malay Parsid Gonke, Santari Santarini, Olchiki Sirjan Data, Pandit Raghunath Murmu Tikin, Bharat Ratna Mante, Man Bebhar, Ken Lagit, Sorkar Tening, Nehoret Kia.
Manotan member, Amak Gag Parsi Santari, Terar Lagit, Amak Saraho. पहली बार उन्होंने संताली में बोला. Members, I would like to inform you that Santali has been spoken today for the first time on the floor of the Rajya Sabha. You would all...
After a detailed analysis of attendance in the meetings of the department-related standing committees and House committees, Chairman Naidu met all the chairmen of the committees and emphasized the need to ensure higher attendance. Also, during the landmark 250th session of the Rajya Sabha, members deliberated on the role of Rajya Sabha in Indian polity and the way forward, during which the members made several suggestions that are being examined. In the last 67 years, since the inception of Rajya Sabha in 1952, the legislative productivity has been little over 1 bill a day in only 6 years, including in 1976, 1984, 1985, 1993, 2002 and 2003. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And General Bipin Rawat will take charge as the Chief of Defence Staff today. The government has created the Department of Military Affairs in the Defence Ministry, which will be headed by General Rawat. And on the eve of taking charge, General Rawat said that the army now is better prepared to face any challenge that may come up at India's borders with Pakistan and China.
I wish to convey my gratitude and compliments to the soldiers, the rank and file of our Indian Army, who have stood steadfast under challenging circumstances and have performed their duty in keeping with the traditions of our armed forces.
Meanwhile, in a stern warning to Pakistan, Army Chief General Manoj Mukund Naravane has said that India reserves the right to preemptively strike at the sources of terror threat if the neighboring country does not stop state-sponsored terrorism. After taking over as the 28th Chief of the Army Staff, General Naravane said that his main focus now will be to make the army ready to face any threat at any time. General Naravane, who was serving as the Vice Chief of the Army, succeeds General Bipin Rawat, who has been appointed as India's first Chief of Defence Staff. As Army Chief, General Naravane's priorities are expected to be the implementing of the long-pending reforms of the Army, contain cross-border terrorism in Kashmir, and bolster the operational capabilities of the force. General Naravane has in the past headed the Army's Eastern Command as well, that takes care of India's nearly 4,000-kilometer border with China. With him taking charge, all the three service heads, including Navy Chief Admiral Karambir Singh and Indian Air Force Chief RKS Bhaduria, are now from the 56th course of the National Defence Academy. And since the removal of Article 370 from Jammu and Kashmir, the terrorism's back has been broken. Jammu and Kashmir DGP Dilbag Singh said that the incidence of terrorism in the Union Territory has come down by 30%. He also informed that Jammu and Kashmir police conducted 80% successful operations. And in the year 2019, 160 terrorists have been eliminated in the valley. And during this time, the infiltration has also decreased. Meanwhile, SMS services were restored last night in Jammu and Kashmir. Broadband internet facility has also been restored in all the government hospitals and schools across Jammu and Kashmir. Mobile services were, remember, banned in Kashmir on 5th of August when the central government decided to abolish the special status of the state and divide it into 2 union territories. In Breakfast News, time for a very short break. We'll be back with more news. Don't go anywhere. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman on Tuesday launched a mega infrastructure plan to boost growth. The National Infrastructure Pipeline, or NIP, comprises projects worth 1.5 trillion rupees to boost economic growth and help the economy reach the $5 trillion target by 2024-25. The NIP has identified projects across 23 sectors and 18 states and union territories, which will be funded over the next 5 years by the central and state governments as well as the private sector. Sitharaman said that of the proposed projects, 39% each would be implemented by the centre and the states, and the rest 22% by private players. The NIP follows a commitment by Prime Minister Narendra Modi in his Independence Day speech that more than 100 trillion rupees would be invested in infrastructure over the next 5 years.
The last 6 years on infrastructure by centre and by the states, a total of 51 lakh crores, that is about 5 to 6% of the GDP, has been spent on infrastructure. For the 100 lakh crore, 102 lakh crore worth compilation is what I'm giving you now. But in addition, a few more states are coming up with another 3 lakh crore worth of projects. So in all, I think we'll have about 105 lakh crore in total of projects for the 100 lakh crore commitment that we've made. Out of the total NIP of 102 lakh crores, which I've told you just as it stands today, 42.7 lakh crore, that is 43% worth of projects are under implementation. 32.7 lakh crore, which is about 33% worth of projects are at conceptualization stage, and 19.1 lakh crore, which is about 19% worth of projects are under development, which is the DPR is done, but construction is yet to start. So hence approximately about 63% of the projects of the pipeline is completely firmed up. We also intend to launch a NIP, the National Infrastructure Pipeline coordination mechanism consisting of the centre, the states, and also the private sector, so that they can get into detailed planning and also information dissemination together with monitoring the implementation of this entire NIP framework. This is the first time in this country you have a national infrastructure pipeline, which actually then makes the job of monitoring, linking with the developers and promoters all fairly well structured and easy up.
On to some other news now. Niti Aayog Vice Chairman Rajiv Kumar has told Rajya Sabha TV that zero budget farming would not just enhance farmers' incomes but will also help in tackling climate change challenges. Speaking on 5 years of Niti Aayog, Rajiv Kumar said that there is a need to think out of the box while preparing plans for the future schemes.
We will have to be thinking out of the box in many areas. And out of the box implies thinking horizontally in many areas. What we need in our country now at the moment, and this is what we will emphasize, is to think across silos, is to bring across convergence, within the different levels of the government, the central, the state, the third tier, urban local bodies, the Panchayat Raj institutions. All of us have to converge towards some goals, either water or agriculture or medicine. Same thing across ministries and departments. Okay. You can, for example, Namami Gange or Swachh Bharat or Swasth Bharat All of these cannot be achieved if we work in silos, because we need think together. And this is where I think the Prime Minister has always led from the front, that he has created these groups of secretaries, which are from very different departments, but then all, for example, all the infrastructure people are beginning to think together. So, and water and agriculture and and fertilizers are all beginning to think together, because this inter-ministerial convergence is also going to be the key. So, a new paradigm is needed in policy making, a new paradigm is needed also in policy implementation. Okay. And if we do that, as we are going to elaborate in our vision document, I am sure that India will achieve, being the second largest economy in the world in PPP terms.
And Indore city in Madhya Pradesh has been judged as India's cleanest city for the 4th time in a row in the central government's cleanliness survey that was announced on Tuesday. Bhopal stood second in the first quarter results between April to June, while Rajkot grabbed the second spot in the second quarter results between July to September. The third position was taken by Surat in the first quarter and Navi Mumbai in the second quarter. And in the category of cities with a population of less than 10 lakh, Jamshedpur in Jharkhand has bagged the first position.
I think Indore has maintained it throughout. But agar number 2 or 3 में भी देखिए, तो other cities are coming in, some cities are losing, which is a good sign, which means that the preservation of the rank is not only dependent, as Secretary said, on your performance, but with what effort the other states and cities are putting in.
And Union Minister Jitendra Singh has informed that India will launch Chandrayaan-3 in 2020. Briefing the media, he asserted that the mission cost of this mission will be less than Chandrayaan-2. The minister added that the experience gathered from Chandrayaan-2 and also the available infrastructure will bring down the cost of Chandrayaan-3. Remember, Chandrayaan-2 mission was India's first attempt to land on the lunar surface. The ISRO had planned its landing on the south pole of the lunar surface.
The next Chandrayaan mission is going to be quite economical from that point of view.
This year, the coming year?
Most likely 2020, because the rover and the lander are already there, so we will be cutting on the cost. So I think, and as I also said in the parliament, that we should not describe it as a kind of a setback, because in the entire world history of space technology, there has not been a single country which could achieve soft landing in less than 2 attempts.
And Law Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad on Tuesday accused the Congress party of spreading misinformation on the Citizenship Amendment Act. Addressing a press conference in Thiruvananthapuram in Kerala, Prasad said that the law was not related to any Muslim and it won't affect any citizen of our country. Hours after the Kerala Assembly passed a resolution demanding the scrapping of Citizenship Amendment Act, the Law Minister asserted that the law was binding on the entire country. He said that only Parliament has the exclusive powers to pass any law with regard to citizenship and not any state assembly.
The population register data is used for development, for framing of policy. How many houses are there? How many gas connections are there? How many electric connections are there? So this data which emerges out of population register becomes the basis for policy making, central government and state government.
And in related news, BJP Rajya Sabha MP GVL Narasimha Rao has also termed the Kerala Assembly's resolution against the Citizenship Amendment Act passed on Tuesday as illegal and unconstitutional. In this regard, he also submitted a notice to Rajya Sabha Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu to initiate a breach of privilege and contempt proceedings against Kerala Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan. Let's get the international top story. US President Donald Trump says that he holds Tehran fully responsible for protesters storming the US Embassy compound in Baghdad. Donald Trump wrote on Twitter on Tuesday evening This is not a warning, it is a threat. Happy New Year. Remember, protesters stormed the US Embassy compound earlier on Tuesday after smashing the main door and setting fire to a reception area, prompting tear gas and sounds of gunfire. The US ambassador to Iraq and other staff were evacuated from the embassy. On Sunday, the US had launched airstrikes on sites in Iraq and Syria belonging to the Kataib Hezbollah, which is an Iran-backed militia that Washington said was in retaliation for the killing of a US contractor on an Iraqi military base. At least 25 terrorists of the Iran-based militia were killed in the attack. And now with that, we wrap up this edition of Breakfast News, wishing you again a very, very happy New Year. Thanks for watching.